The story of the secret millionaire. Imagine you are standing at a traffic light on a rainy Tuesday evening. You look to your left and see a faded, slightly scattered 2012 Honda Civic. The engine has a soft squeak and the windshield wipers are old. Inside the car sits a 42-year-old man named David. He is wearing a plain gray hoodie that he bought on a sale. He looks tired from a long day at work. He is holding a simple paper receipt from a grocery store, checking if he accidentally bought something he did not need. If his coworkers saw him, they would think David is just an ordinary guy struggling to pay his bills. If his neighbors saw his house, which has an old kitchen from the year 2005, they would assume he is stuck in the middle-class grind. But if you could walk into David's house, open his laptops and log into his private investment accounts, your eyes would pop out of your head. The screen would show a number $1,245,000. He has over $1 million. He does not owe a single cent to any bank. He has no credit card debt, no car loan, and his house is completely paid off. David is a real millionaire. But if you walk up to him and ask him if he is rich, he will shake his head and say, "No, I'm just doing okay." This brings us to a huge secret about modern life that the internet never tells you. True wealth is almost always invisible. When you look at a social media, you see people showing off flashy luxury cars, expensive designer clothes with big logos, and massive modern mansions. But you must understand that this is not a sign of wealth. This is simply a sign of spending money. Wealth is the exact opposite. Wealth is the money you choose not to spend. It is the money left in bank. It is the options you have not used yet, the luxury items you choose to leave in the store, and the heavy financial stress that you no longer have to carry on your shoulders. Right now, as you see these videos, there is a very high chance that you are quietly becoming rich, even if your bank account does not feel amazing today. True wealth builds up very slowly and very quietly before it makes any noise at all. Most people are looking for the wrong clues. They think they are failing because they don't own a sports car, but in reality, they are winning the real money game. Let us look past in the social media lies and explore the 7 quiet signs that prove you are actually getting rich, even if you don't feel it yet. Sign 1. The disappearance of bank account anxiety. Let us go back in time for a moment. Think about your late teens or your early 20s or any time in your life when money was incredibly tight. Do you remember that specific heavy feeling in your stomach right before you handed your debit card to a cashier at a grocery store or restaurant? You would stand there for a brief half second, holding your breath, starting at the little card machine. You were secretly praying that the machine would say approved instead of flashing the bright red words declined. You always had to know exactly how many dollars were left in your account down to the penny, because one wrong move meant a bank fee or an embarrassing moment. The very first sign that you are becoming wealthy has nothing to do with buying a luxury item. It's a quiet shift in your brain, the days of financial panic. When you reach a point in your life where you can walk into a grocery store, fill up your cart with healthy food, go to the register and tap your card without checking your banking app first, you have won a massive financial victory. When you can pull into a gas station, fill up your car's fuel tank, or let your monthly electricity and internet bills pay themselves on automatic deduction without sweating, you have crossed a major wealth line. Scientists who study the human brain call this cognitive bandwidth. This is a fancy way of saying brain space. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, poverty acts like a heavy weight on your mind. You are constantly calculating numbers, moving small amounts of money around, and worrying about tomorrow. It uses up all your energy. When that worry finally goes away, when your ordinary daily life is comfortably covered by your regular income, your brain space opens up. You stop checking your banking app every 5 minutes because you already know the foundation of your house is solid. You might not feel rich because you don't have a chest of gold coins, but the absence of daily money fear is the very first layer of true wealth. Sign 2. Your money plan is completely boring. Let us look at another character named Sarah. Sarah is 26 years old and she wants to be rich. Every single day Sarah opens her phone and looks for excitement. She buys a new cryptocurrency because an influencer on TikTok told her it was going to the moon. The next week, she sells that cryptocurrency at a loss to buy a trendy tech stock because she read a wild news article about it. Her money goes up, then it crashes down. She feels like she is in an action movie. She is constantly stressed, constantly checking charts and constantly losing cash. Now let us look at David's money plan. David's plan is so boring that it could put you to sleep. On the first day of every month, an automatic system takes a set percentage of his paycheck and moves it into a safe, broad market index fund. An index fund is just a basket that holds tiny pieces of hundreds of biggest companies in the world. David does not try to guess which stock will win tomorrow. He does not watch the financial news. He does not buy risky coins. He just lets his money sit there, month after month, year after year. If your personal investment strategy feels incredibly unexciting, you should congratulate yourself. You are likely making more money than 90% of people who try to trade stocks for fast profits. When people first start trying to build wealth, they look for action. They want drama. They want a miracle that will turn $100 into $10,000 overnight. But the real story of wealth shows us that true money accumulation is an exercise in absolute boredom. It is like watching green grass grow or watching wet paint dry. If you have reached a stage in your life where you look at your saving plan and think, wow, this is just a simple saving account and an automatic retirement plan, there is nothing cool about this. You have graduated from gambling to real investing. You no longer need your money to give you a rush of excitement because you finally understand that an exciting money plan is a dangerous money plan. By choosing the boring path, you are letting the mathematical power of compound interest do the heavy lifting for you. Sign 3. You stop trading all your time to save $1. When we are young, or when we have very little money in our pockets, we naturally have an abundance of time because we have more time than money. Because we have more time than money, we make choices where we trade our house to protect our cash. For example, you will willingly drive 20 minutes out of your way to go to a faraway gas station because the fuel is 3 cents cheaper per gallon. You will spend an entire Saturday afternoon trying to assemble a complex wooden desk yourself to avoid paying a $50 delivery and setup fee. You will book an airplane ticket with 2 terrible 5-hour layovers in random cities just to save $100 on the flight. In those stages of life, that behavior makes total sense. You are protecting your scarce resource, which is money. But as you quietly becoming wealthy, a beautiful thing happens inside your mind. Your comparison scale completely flips over. You stop looking at the world through the lens of a poor person and you start looking at it through the lens of a rich person. Suddenly, you find yourself paying extra money for the direct flight that gets you home in 2 hours instead of 10. You willingly hire a local professional plumber to fix your broken sink because you realize that spending your Saturday playing with your kids or resting your mind is worth far more than the money you pay the plumber. You pay a few dollars a month for software that automates a boring, repetitive task in your job or a small business. You completely stop asking the old question, how much money will this choice cost me? And instead, you start asking the new wealth question, how much of my life and time will this choice buy back for me? If you are now willingly spending money to protect your energy, your hours, and your mental peace, you are already acting like a wealthy individual. True wealth is not about hoarding stacks of green paper in a Gantt safe. True wealth is about using those pieces of paper as a tool to buy absolute control over your daily calendar. Sign 4. A heavy financial emergency becomes an inconvenience. Let us look at a painful situation that happens to millions of hard-working families every single day. You are driving down the highway and you hear a loud pop. Your car tire has completely blown out. You pull over to the side of the road safely, but your heart is pounding fast. Or you walk into your kitchen morning and realize your refrigerator has completely stopped working and all your food is going bad. Or perhaps you have a sudden terrible pain in your tooth and you need unexpected expensive trip to the dentist. For a massive percentage of the adult population, a sudden unplanned $1,000 expense is a massive, life-altering tragedy. It means they have to put money on a high-interest credit card that they can't pay off. It means they have to call their relatives and ask for an embarrassing loan. It means sleepless nights, immense marital arguments, or skipping other critical bills like rent or medicine. A single broken car part can derail their entire year and push them into a deep financial hole. But notice how a person who is quietly getting rich handles the exact same bad luck. The car tire blows out. The wealthy person pulls over to the side of the road. They take a deep breath. They might grumble and complain because nobody likes losing money. But their heart rate does not go crazy. They don't sweat through their shirt. They calmly pull out their phone and call a tow truck, drive to the repair shop, hand over their car to pay the bill, and continue with their day. They do not lie awake at 3 o'clock in the morning wondering how they will buy groceries next week because of this accident. If the sudden emergency of life have moved from being terrifying crisis into simply being annoying inconvenience, you are officially wealthy. Your emergency fund is doing its real job. It's not just sitting there earning a little bit of interest. It is acting as a psychological shield that protects your mind from the random chaos of the world. Sign 5. You have lost the deep desire to compete with status symbols. There is a very profound, life-changing difference between looking rich and being rich. In fact, if you study human behavior, you will find that these two things are very often total opposites. When people first climb out of poverty, enter the middle class, or get their very first taste of a high paycheck, they experience a natural biological urge to signal their new success to the rest of the world. They want their tribe to know they are winning, so they rush out to get a high-priced lease on a brand new luxury SUV. They buy bags, shoes, and hats covered in massive, highly visible designer logos. They buy expensive watches they cannot really afford. They want the world to look at them and say, "Wow, look at that successful person." But the longer you stay in the real wealth building game, the more you see through this illusion. You realize that status symbols are nothing more than financial traps designed by corporations to keep regular people broke forever. When you are genuinely getting rich on the inside, your desire to impress strangers completely evaporates into thin air. You find yourself looking at a flashy $90,000 sports car, and instead of feeling jealous, you think about how fast that car loses its value the moment it leaves the parking lot. You look at a designer t-shirt that costs $400 and you smile because you realize it is made of the exact same cheap cotton as a $15 shirt from a regular store, just with a luxury name stamped on the front. You become totally comfortable being the poorest looking person in a room full of high earning professionals. You are perfectly happy driving an ordinarily clean car and wearing plain, comfortable clothes. Why? Because you don't need an object on your wrist or a logo on your chest to validate your human worth. Your quiet bank account gives you all the confidence you will ever need, and you don't care if strangers know it or not. Sign 6. Your money engine starts to move on its own. When you first enter the working world as a young adult, you have exactly one engine to generate money, your physical and mental labor. You trade 1 hour of your finite life for a set number of dollars. If you show up to work, you get paid. If you get sick, if you want to take a long break, or if you stop moving, your single engine instantly shuts down. The money completely stops flowing into your life. But as you learn to save your money and put it into assets rather than liabilities, a second, completely invisible engine starts running quietly in the background of your life. At the very beginning of your journey, this second engine is incredibly small. It looks like a joke. You look at your saving account at the end of the month and you see that the bank paid you $4 of interest. Or you get a tiny dividend check from a stock portfolio that is worth $12. Most people look at these teeny numbers and laugh. They think, why should I care about $12? This does not change my life at all. This does not pay my rent. It's pointless. So they stop saving and spend their cash instead. But a wealthy mindset does not look at the current small number. A wealthy mindset tracks the longer-term trend line. If you keep pouring fuel into the second engine, those teeny numbers slowly begin to shift. After a few years, your investments are not making $12 a month anymore. They are making $150 a month. That is enough to cover your electric bill or your phone bill. A few years later, that engine is making $800 a month, which covers your groceries. Eventually, the engine makes enough to cover your entire living situation. Let us conclude. The real meaning of a rich life. Let us return one final time to David, sitting in his quiet kitchen, pouring himself a simple cup of black coffee. He is looking out of his window at his green backyard where his children are playing safely. Everything around him is calm, quiet and peaceful. There is no rush, no loud noises and no panic. Is David rich? If you judge him by the fake standards of television, movie videos and social media influencers, the answer is no. He does not own a private jet. He does not have a mansion with 20 bedrooms, and nobody knows his name on the financial news networks. But let us consider the reality of David's daily life. David has the unique, beautiful power to wake up every single morning, look at the sun, and decide exactly how he wants to spend the next 24 hours of his life. If a bad manager at his job yells at him or treats him with disrespect, David has the power to stand up, pack his bags, and walk away forever without any fear of the future. If a member of his family gets sick, he can take 3 months off from work to sit by their hospital bed without worrying about losing his home. If he wants to stop working early in life to pursue a creative hobby or travel the world simply, he can do it. David owns his time. He owns his peace of mind. He owns his destiny. This is the true ultimate definition of a rich life. True wealth has never been about having an abundance of useless luxury possessions. True wealth is the absolute total absence of financial fear. If you recognize yourself in even 2 or 3 of the quiet signs we talked about today, if you are experiencing less anxiety about your daily bills, if you have started to value your limited time over cheap material goods, if your investment strategy is beautiful, boring, and if you have lost that childish urge to show off your money to people you don't even like, then you need to take a deep, relaxed breath. You are doing so much better than you give yourself credit for. You are not falling just because your progress is silent. You are building something real, something permanent, and something that will last for generations. Keep moving down the path. Your true wealth is growing every single day, even if you don't feel it yet.